I took his coat and his worn-out hat, left him for the worms and the hungry rats, stuffed the burlap sack with the autumn yield, crucified the drifter in the middle of the grave. The corn is dead and the harvest is done, bleeding out my soul in the dying sun. I sit on the porch with my shotgun shell, waiting for the demon to crawl out of hell. Oh, the burlap is walking, the twine is untied, ain't nowhere in the hollow for a murderer to hide. Hear the wooden cross dragging on the hardwood floor, waiting for the scarecrow to knock on my throat. Smelling the rot, wafting up on a sniff. My skin is turning yellow and my fingers are hay. The crows on the roof are watching me. Oh, the burlap is walking, the twine is untied. The devil is claiming the truth that I lied. Hear the wooden cross dragging on the hardwood floor. I'm turning into straw from the skin to the bone. On a heavy grain sack, tie him up. I try to scream out, but I'm spitting out seed. I hate in the harvest for my unforgiving greed. He's standing in the doorway wearing my old clothes. Lord Almighty, he's feeding me to the... Yeah, the holler is quiet, crows have all flown. I'm stitched to a cross made of flesh and bone. Ain't nobody gonna harvest this cursed old field. Just a man made of straw, waiting for his fate to seal. The gun is rusted, the crows are fed. I'm guarding the field of the restless dead. Watch the crows, boy. They know. Paint the dead with the silver and light, prop 'em up straight in the middle of the night. Tell the weeping mother they're just sleeping in peace, while I trap their wandering souls in the glass. I sold their spirits to the parlor occult, reaping the gold from a wicked result. Tonight I set the lens and I sit in the chair, holding the trigger, breathing in the smoke. Oh, the dark room is glowing with a chemical red, waking up the shadows of the silver-plated dead. I dipped the glass plate in the nitrate solution, watching the devil paint my own. I look at the picture as it comes into view, but the face staring back ain't exactly true. There's dozens of hands grabbing onto my coat, reaching right out from the borders to pull. Oh, the dark room is glowing with a chemical red. The borders are fading, the living is dead. I try to step back from the sink and the tray, but my skin is turning transparent and flat. Feel my own heat. All the fray. I'm fading away to a two-sided sheet. They're climbing right out of the chemical bath. All the fray. I'm trapped in the lens of a murderous wrath. I try to run out, but I'm locked in the posts. Lord Almighty, the shutter is starting to. Yeah, the dark room is quiet, the picture is dry. A terrified stare and a frozen old eye. Ain't nobody gonna find me in this empty estate. Just a soul trapped inside of a glass plate. The silver is tarnished, the shadows are fed. I traded my life for a frame of the dead. Don't look at the flash, son. It'll blind you. Dug 'em up from the potter's field in the dead of the midnight gloom. Pried the heavy iron loose from a forgotten sinner's tomb. Tied 'em to the porch roof with a piece of butcher's twine. Figured the graveyard rust would protect what's rightfully mine. Thought the cold dead iron would keep the devil from my throat. Oh, the air is dead, the moss is still. Ain't a breath of breeze coming over the hill, but the iron is swinging heavy and slow, striking out a rhythm that a living man shouldn't. Sitting the rocker with the loaded 12-gauge shell, listening to the porch ringing like a brimstone barrel. Ain't no wind to push that heavy rust around, just the invisible fingers of the men from the dirt. Oh, the air is dead, the moss is still, the silence outside is starting to kill. The iron is swinging heavy and slow, playing a funeral dirge just to let me rot. 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 They're blocking the steps, they're waiting outside. Bring them out. Ain't nowhere in this cabin a grave robber can hide. The sparks are flying off the rusted iron head. The demand in the silver I stole from the dead. I try to stand up, but my legs turn to clay. Lord Almighty, they're tearing the porch right. Here the chimes are quiet, the iron is down. The heaviest silence in this ghost-ridden town. Ain't nobody gonna save me when the doorknob turns. Just a thief in the dark, waiting for the fire that burns. Burns. Is heavy, my hands are numb. The wind is dead, but the reckoning has come. Take the silver back, boys. Just leave me be. By the river bend, told the starving families I was their only friend. When the famine hit the holler, I locked the heavy bin, mixed the flour with the sawdust, fattened up my purse. Turned to hell. Nothing left but the mud and the copperhead smell. But the wooden wheel is turning without a drop of rain. The massive stones are spinning, tearing up the quiet. Oh, the millstone is grinding, but the hopper is bare, throwing sparks of brimstone into the midnight air. Hear the heavy rocks scraping on the empty stone bed, crushing up the memories of the wrongly done. I try to holler out, but my lips are sewn tight. My gums are turning gray in the lantern light. The grinding in the mill and just the heavy rock, it's echoing inside my skull, turning like a vice. Oh, the millstone is grinding, but the hopper is bare. The devil's in the machinery, breathe in my ear. Hear the heavy rock scraping on the empty stone bed. My jaw's locked together, I can't even turn my it's turning to dust. I'm paying the price for the broken trust. I taste the sawdust, I taste the ash. The wheel is spinning like a lightning flash. I try to wedge my fingers to open up my mouth. Lord Almighty, the pain is pushing south. Yeah, the millstone is grinding, the river is dead. The hunger of the town is feeding my head. Ain't nobody gonna pry me from this wooden chair. Just a greedy old miller suffocating on the truth. The wheel is stopping, the flour is ground, ain't nowhere to hide from the crushing sound. Don't eat the bread, child, it's made of. Way down yonder at the Muddy Creek Bend, I watch the souls of the broken and condemned. I plunged them deep in the heavy brown tide, told them to look for the Lord on the other side. I held Brother Thomas a little too long while the congregation was singing a holy song. Watched the bubbles rise up from the murky deep, left him down in the silt for the river to keep. Oh, the rain is beating on the rusted tin roof. The Lord is knocking, demanding the proof. The wash basin's bubbling with the muddy brown foam. The devil's come to carry the preacher on down, down, down. water from the porcelain jug, but it tastes like clay in a riverbed bug. I look in the mirror, but the room is too dim. I see Thomas standing there telling me to swim. Oh, the rain is beating on the rusted tin roof. The devil's in the parlor with the cloven hoof. The wash basin's bubbling with the muddy brown foam, drowning out the prayers of my broken lungs. Squishing, the carpet is wet. Pull him up. I'm paying the interest on a murderous debt. Pull him up. I can't breathe, the air is turning to mud. Pull him up. My throat is filling with the river's own blood. Cold hands are grabbing at my ankles and knees. Lord Almighty, I'm sinking in the... Yeah, the rain has stopped, the parlor is dry, but I'm looking up at a watery sky. Ain't nobody gonna pull me up from the bed, just a false prophet sleeping with the drown. The river is heavy, the water is black. Once you go under, you ain't coming back. Hold your breath, Thomas. I'm coming down. I took my heavy axe down to the gallows hill, where the Spanish moss hangs and the air goes chill. Chopped down the oak where the hangman stood, built myself a mansion from the blood-soaked wood. I polished up the grain till it shined like a crown. Reckoned I was the king of this miserable grave. Oh, the timber is weeping, the sap runs red, singing out the chorus of the wrongly dead. Hear the floorboards creak like a trapdoor hinge, waiting for the devil to collect his dues. I'm sitting at the table with my silver and my wine, but the branches are growing from the southern pine. The walls are closing in, shrinking up the room, wrapped round my neck like a weaver's noose. Oh, the timber is weeping, the sap runs red, the ceiling is dropping right over my head. Hear the floorboards creak like a trapdoor hinge, begging for mercy that I could never give. The doors are fused shut, the iron is bent. Chop it down. I'm paying up the blood that the hangman spent. The roots are wrapping around my ankles and my knees. I'm swallowed by the belly of the hanging trees. I try to scream for help, but the bark is in my throat. Lord Almighty, the wood is starting to... Yeah, the timber is quiet, the house is a cage, written in the blood of an unholy age. Ain't nobody gonna find me in the heart of the wood, just a greedy old man hanging where he should. Should. the axe's rust. From dust we came and back to dust. Don't build on the hill, son. The wood remembers.
My husband runs the parlor down in Miller's Cold Divide, dressing up the sinners for their final carriage ride. I took my heavy shears and snipped the velvet from their chests, sewed a patchwork blanket while the dead went to their rest. Winter's blowing bitter, so I pull it up to my chin, wrapped in all the remnants of their sorrow and their grave. The cabin fire's dying, just a pile of smoking ash. Ice is crawling heavy on the parlor window sash. I pull the quilt up tighter, but it's smelling mighty strange. Copper, blood, and chemical, a scent that shouldn't range. It's supposed to keep me warm against the freezing winter storm, but the fabric's getting heavy, taking on a human weight. Oh, the patchwork is pressing, it's crushing my chest, sewn from the coats of the unholy guests. Hear the thread stretching in the dead of the night. I try to kick it off, but the stitching is too cold. A piece of widow satin and a gambler's woolen sleeve, they're wrapping round my collar tighter than you'd believe. I reach to push the wool away, but fingers grab my wrist, ice cold and stiff, rising up from the mist. Dozens of dead hands underneath the sewn spread, pulling me down deep into this feather. Oh, the patchwork is pressing, it's crushing my chest. The dead ain't forgiven, the dead never rest. Hear the thread stretching in the dead of the night, suffocating my scream, swallowing the air. Cracking underneath the heavy wall. The grave is always hungry and the grave is never full. I smell the dirt and cedar, I can taste the bitter clay. The quilt is turning into mud, it's dragging me away. I can't lift my arms, my blood is turning to ice. Lord Almighty, I'm paying the undertakers. Yeah, the patchwork is quiet, the blanket is still. Ain't nobody waking in the cabin on the hill. I'm stitched into the dark, tangled in the thread, just a greedy old wife, sleeping with the buried. The fire is dead, the needle is bent, every ounce of warmth has been spent. Close the casket, darling, It's so cold.
Down yonder in the delta, where the cotton used to bleed, I rode the whole plantation, fueled by iron-fisted greed. I locked the cellar door when the harvest went bad, ignored the muffled crying, reckoned they was going quiet. Brought a giant wooden clock to sit in the hall, loud as damn ticking just to deafen it all. Now I'm old and I'm withered, sitting in the gloom, but the pendulum is swinging like a shadow in the noose. No, the brass gears grind and the mainspring bites, counting down the seconds of these unforgiving nights. Hear the tick-tock echoing across the hardwood floor, waiting for the devil to knock on my rib cage. I look at the glass face covered in the dust, smell the cellar mud rising up through the rust. The knock ain't in the gears, it's coming from below. Dozens of dead knuckles tapping out a rhythm so cold. All the brass gears grind and the mainspring bites. I'm trapped inside the parlor with the plantation whites. Hear the tick-tock echoing across the hardwood floor, bleeding out my sanity. I can't take it no more. Same pace. If I shatter the wood, if I break the machine, I'll bleed out my life where the gears have all been. They tap my beating heart to the swing of the brass. Lord Almighty, the clock is running out of. Yeah, the pendulum is heavy, the mainspring is old. My left arm is numb and my fingers are cold. Ain't nobody gonna wind it when the weight hits the ground. Just a greedy old man dying to the sound of his sins. 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 The weights are dropping, the cellar is open, the promises I made are permanently broken. Don't let it stop, boys. Keep turning the key. I buried him deep in the sourwood grove, where the soil is rich and the shadows don't move. built a dozen white boxes right over the spot. Reckon the bees would just leave 'em to rot, but they ain't flying out to the clover no more. They're digging straight down through the dirt and the guilt. Frame just to check on the comb, but it ain't golden honey they're bringing back home. It's thick and it's black, dripping cold in the shade, tasting exactly like the choices I made. I ran to the house like the heavy oak door, but the humming is seeping right up through the boards. Oh, the swarm is a gathering, blocking the moon, singing a wicked underground tune. Hear the wings vibrating the glass on the pane, driving a spike right into my mind. Mind. Look in the mirror, my skin's turning pale. Feel the prick of a stinger, the scratch of a nail. They ain't on the outside, they're under the flesh, weaving my veins in a dark, sticky mesh. I wipe at the sweat rolling down from my crown, but it's black, heavy honey just pouring right out. Oh, the swarm is a gathering, blocking the moon. I'm trapped in a sticky and breathless cocoon. Hear the wings vibrating the glass on the pane, telling the devil my unforgiven name. Suffocating under the weight of the lies. The windows are shattering, they're pouring right in. Lord Almighty, they're crawling right under my. Yeah, the swarm is quiet, the comb has been made. I'm just an empty shell in the sourwood shade. Ain't nobody gonna harvest this bitter old crop, just a man in a hive, waiting for his heart to stop. 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 Bop, 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 bop. The honey is black, the brother is fed, the apiary is sleeping, the keeper is dead. Don't swat at 'em, son, they're just bringing it home. I built the toll gate cross the devil's span, taxing every wagon and a traveling man. The river was swelling, the lightning was stark. A family came begging in the pitch of the dark. They lacked a silver piece used to open the wood. I left them in the hollow like a businessman should. Heard the horses scream when the carriage gave way. Now I sit in the booth waiting for the Lord to judge. Oh, the covered bridge is grown and swaying in the wind, paying out the wages of an unforgiven sin. Hear the wet silver dropping in the heavy iron tin, waiting for the river water to swallow my bones. I bolted the pine shutter, locked the heavy latch, but the dampness is spreading through the roof's old thatch. I hear the hooves galloping right over my head, a carriage full of shadows coming back from the deep. Oh, the covered bridge is grown and swaying in the wind. The lockbox is rattling, but the silver is thin. Hear the wet silver dropping in the heavy iron tin, watching the fog rolling over the glass. One for the mother and one for the child. The gorge is a-flooding, the water is wild. The iron box is bursting, it's spilling on the floor. I can hear their wet hands pounding on my door. I try to give it back, but my fingers turn to clay. Lord Almighty, the toll is too heavy to yeah, the covered bridge is quiet, the silver is paid. I'm standing in the dark with the choices I made. Ain't nobody traveling this road anymore, just a greedy old man settling the score. Score. The settling the score. The lockbox is empty, the toll has been met. I'm drowning in the air of a 40-year debt. Gates open, folks. Pass on through. I set the needle on the hollow wax, down in the delta, living in the cracks, strumming the chords that I stole in my youth, singing a lie that I dressed as the truth. Blind Willie's bones are resting in the mud. I took his song and I washed off the blood, but listen to the scratch on the gramophone track. Willie's in the wax and he's singing right back. Oh, the cylinder spins, the needle cuts deep, waking up the ghost that I put to sleep. I hear my own voice agonizing in the dark. I try to lift the arm, but my hands are too cold. Listening to a story that shouldn't be told. The harmony's changing, he's leaving the groove. He's stepping out the brass, and I can't even move. Oh, the cylinder spins, the needle cuts deep. I'm harvesting the soul that I ain't supposed to reap. He ain't in the machine, he ain't on the shelf. He's humming the chorus all by him. Turn it off. The crank is spinning right out of my head. Turn it off. He's singing the notes that I can't understand. Turn it off. The brass horn is shaking, it's spitting out dust. My guitar strings are covered in graveyard rust. The recording is over, the needle is dead, but the whisper is echoing inside of mine. Yeah, the cylinder stops, the music is gone, but the voice in the parlor is still carrying on. Ain't nobody gonna hear me when I cry. Just a thief and a ghost watching the music die. Wax is melted, the lie is told. I'm paying the toll in silver and gold. That's my song, Willie. I wrote it. Sing it with me, boy. To the holler with the painted wagon sign, peddling the elixir that'll make your spirit shine. Just a little river mud, a drop of turpentine. Sold 'em all salvation for a silver dime. I packed my carpet bag when the fever started to spread. Left that wretched county with a wagon full of lies. Oh, the lantern is flickering, the midnight is cold. Counting up the wages of the snake oil I sold. I look into the mirror with the quicksilver frame, but the man staring back ain't exactly playing the game. Up my left hand to tip my old hat, but the reflection is sitting exactly where he sat. He's grinning like a demon with a secret to keep. Reckon he's awake while my sanity is broken. Oh, the lantern is flickering, the midnight is cold. The mirror is breaking the rules that it holds. He reaches for a bottle of the Black Widow's brew, pulls out the cork and he drinks it straight down. 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 Hold it back. My real throat is burning, it's catching on fire. Hold it back. The man in the mirror is try to smash the glass, but my arms turn to stone. He's stepping right out, and he's taking my yeah, the lantern is flickering, the elixir is drank. My body is dropping like a stone in a tank. I'm trapped in the quicksilver, looking at the pain, watching the charlatan steal my own face. Face. The wagon is rolling, the painted sign sways. I'm locked in the mirror for the rest of my days. Step right up, folks. The doctor is in.